Hey guys, you ready to make some money? Illuvium is an amazing looking game, and recently they dropped their open beta, so every single person at the moment is collecting points for the airdrop they're doing. But the thing is, there's an issue. Is the game actually fun, or will every single person currently playing drop the game the minute the airdrop is over? So I thought to myself, let me give you guys an in-depth review of Illuvium to let you know if it's worth your time or not. Let's get into it. To start off this review, just in case none of you guys actually know what Illuvium is, let me explain the game. But basically, it's a multiple game mode type of game because you've got the open world where you can run around, harvest materials to increase your armor and increase your mobility around the map to hopefully catch some more monsters. Because these Illuvials are really hard to catch, and when you go into the auto battler and try to defeat them, if you have a chance to catch them and put them onto your team, which is wonderful. But another one of their game modes is the Auto Battler PvP, which is a big arena Auto Battler game mode where you can take all your Illuvials and all the monsters you catch in the open world and go challenge other people in an Auto Battler setting. And the thing is, the PvE sets you up pretty well for this PvP battle, and you can soon gonna learn that the battle system is a little bit different because you have access to so many different monsters, and on top of it, it's a multiple turn game. So you need to win a maximum of 4 goes before you win a whole match. One of the best things about this game is it's completely free to play. You can go and download it right now from the Epic Game Store. So it's accessible to every single person. There is one more game mode for Illuvium, which is the land system thing they have. But the thing is, this is not accessible to everybody because you need to own a land plot to play this game mode. So we're not going to talk about this game mode much today, because not everyone can play it. But that's me explaining Illuvium really shortly for you guys, because I don't want the review to just be about the game. I want to tell you guys the things that I like and dislike about the project, and on top of that, tell you what I think the future will be for it. The thing is with Illuvium, it's a game. So with all games, there's going to be things we like and dislike about a game. And with Illuvium, there's definitely things we're going to like a lot. There's definitely things for us to not like, so let's get into it. First of all, I want to talk about the whole landscape of the game, because in my mind, it kind of gives me a feeling of that Palworld with the open world, exploring and things like that. Obviously, it doesn't have the building and all other Palworld features, but it's a unique take on the monster battle genre, because if you think about it, everything is a reference from Pokemon. And if you look at the models and the characters and Illuviums, they're really cool designed and they're all really unique, which is really great. And in Rev 3, a lot of the monster battler games kind of look the same. If you have one monster and you have another monster, they basically look the same. But in Illuvium, they look completely different and really cool. And while we're talking about the open world for a minute, just look at the movement and the way you can get around the map. It's so cool the way how you can just zoom around, fly around, and the map is multi-layered. So if you think you've just seen everything you can on the first layer, you're completely wrong. Because the more you jump around and the higher tiers you get in the map, you start seeing so much more. And the thing is, the way to do it is the mobility, which is so great. And the best thing about this game is you can play it your own way. If you're more focused on like catching the monsters to get into PvP as quick as you can literally go and do that and just focus on getting shards and going straight for the monsters. But if you're more focused on like completing the decks and just enjoying the game as a whole, then you can do that and have a bit of a hybrid experience of like harvesting, increasing your armor, getting the monsters and having a slower progression throughout the game. But that's one big point I want to bring up, is the game loop. I think it's really good the way how you go into the open world, you experience the game, you slowly learn the battle system like the auto battler, and you slowly build up your team, which you can later take into PvP, which I think is great. Because PvP sometimes is really challenging for people. And for the fact that the PvE can prepare you for that and allow you to build up your team, get used to them before you take them into the PvP realm, I think that's great and a great game loop. Because it will allow new players that join the game to learn the game at a great pace before they get shoved into the competitive side of the game. But that brings up my favourite point about the whole game, because PvE is cool for me, but if you know me, I'm all about PvP, because the auto battler, the PvP mode, is actually really fun once you get into it. Because the thing is, at the beginning, it's kind of confusing for you, like playing the team, slowly evolving the monsters into higher stages, when and what time to use your stuff. The thing is, once you do learn this stuff, it's an easy game to play because obviously it's auto battler, you can throw things onto the map. But once you try to learn that the strategy behind it, it starts becoming really fun, really competitive, and you start looking at the auto battler, like the monsters moving around, in a completely different way. For me though, I'm going to super focus on the PvP mode in the future, because the open world's cool and all, but just going up against other players is just so great, and the game actually allows you to do this, which is another bonus. So hopefully in the future, as time goes on, there'll be more focus on the auto battler PvP mode, and less focus on the overworld as time goes on. But obviously at the moment, as it's just dropped, I know everyone's excited about the overworld because of the play to airdrop event. So hopefully in the future, there could be more focus on the auto battler. But now we got to this point, it's time for me to tell you the things that I dislike about the game and the project. And I kind of hinted at it already, but I want him to have more focus on the auto battler and the PvP mode, because the overworld is really cool and all, but I feel they need to focus and highlight the PvP mode so much more, because competitive sides of like games equal longevity. Think about CSGO, Super Smash Bros. Melee. I can talk about so many games that lasted so long, and that's because of the PvP landscape. Any PvE focused game has like a short lifespan, and in Web3, we're playing games in development. So for me, I hope that they focus more on the PvP mode in the future, because that will allow them to actually last the test of time. And I'm not sure if other people feel like this, but the overworld does kind of feel pretty empty, and it's super reliant on you using the heat map all the time, and always using like the ultraviolet mode to be able to see everything in the map. And for me, it kind of takes away from the experience. I would hope, hopefully in the future, there's a lot more monsters that's roaming around, and a lot more things for us to do like interactively within the map other than harvest and just catch the monsters. Because the overworld generally feels like a big grind. That's another point I want to bring up. The game does feel like a big grind at times. Maybe it's because it's a play to airdrop event. That could be a big point, because we're all just chasing the monsters for the points. But hopefully in the future, it doesn't feel as much as a grind, and it's more focused on the PvP. Because I feel when you're just grinding out PvP, it doesn't feel as much of like a burden as much as you just like grinding out PvE. Because if you're losing PvP, you're like, okay, the person's better than me. But if you're losing PvE, you're just like, oh, what do I have to grind for now to be able to get to this next part? So, but that personally is just a thing for myself. Because I feel like that's a personal thing for me, because I like PvP. And obviously this is my review and my dislikes. But I had to just kind of like focus on that point in a minute. And my last point is, this could completely change, and this could be solely because we're on the testnet and it's a experiment for everything. But for me, I think this game may be way too much for every single person to play, because you having to pay to go to the higher lands, you having to pay to fuse, and you having to use all these other currencies as well within the game. It's just going to add up eventually, and you can say to yourself, oh, it's on the IMX chain, but eventually you're going to have to deal with Ethereum gas fees. So hopefully they make some adjustments to like their fuel center and stuff like that, because everything you do in the game is so reliant on this fuel stuff, and it costs so much money. And at the moment, we're not really caring because it's on testnet and it's all like fake money. But when it's real money and real players, I feel like maybe you might end up pricing out a lot of the audience, because obviously in Web3 you got to pay money to play these games. But I feel some games sometimes forget that not every single person in the world can afford steep prices on games. So I feel them having a free-to-play model at the beginning is great, but they need a better like method to change the free-to-play player into a spending player, and allow that spending player to get competitive eventually. And I think right now it can change because it's on testnet. But for me, these are kind of like my dislikes for the project, and they're very small things if you really think about it. And a lot of them are just personal, and I'm still playing the game now. And I'm really a big fan of the PvP, and I was hoping that would be more of a focus in the future. Now I've talked about the likes and the dislikes about the project, let me talk about its future, because for me, it's had so much funding, so this game can really stay here for a long time. So I've said some great and bad things when it comes to Illuvium, but it's time for me to tell you what I think is going to happen in the future. But for me, I think the open world experience that we have right now is barely just the foundation, because there's so many things they can do when it comes to the open world experience. They can shove dungeons, they can have multiple people in one land, There's so many things they can do with that I feel right now we're just playing the very beginning. And if you just think about the ship, you can expand the ship more and everything else. You can build it up, and that could kind of be like your own building and farming simulator type of thing, where you're slowly progressing your ship as like your own home. But the one thing I really do see taking off is that auto battler, because if they focus on it a lot more, like I've said so many times, and more take it in a competitive landscape and more think about esports and things like that, then that auto battler can generally do so much and expand so well. But that's the one thing about Illuvium. They can really focus on multiple different like audiences. They can focus on PvE type of people and PvP type of people at the exact same time. So for me, I feel like they have a great chance to reach a great audience as long as they do everything so well. So right now, I hope they change their economy so they can access so many other players. But that's the one thing that still needs to come out, is how the Illuvium's economy system is going to work. Because right now, we're all just playing around. So hopefully in the future they drop that soon, because in Web3 everyone's focused on earning money and things like that. And right now it's a great game, so if they can get the earning side of the game perfect as well, that could be a recipe for some success. But this is just my ideas about Illuvium and my experiences, and no doubt the game's going to get more updates in the future. But in the comments below, let me know what you think about the project. Well, that's it guys, that's Illuvium in a nutshell. So go download it now. Go catch them monsters and start collecting them points, because that equals money. But that'll be it for me for today. So until next time, remember, be a shark in this world, not a whale. I'm going to see you guys next time.